Hello guys and welcome to the Gone2 series. This tutorial is in continuation to the earlier two parts for creation of a basic Hibernate Java application. In the first part, we created the hibernate.cfg.xml file and went through all the configurations needed for a basic Hibernate Java application. And in the second part, we created the annotated model class student_info, which we want to store or persist into the database using the Hibernate way. In this tutorial, we are going to write code for storing or persisting the student_info object into the database table. Once you are through with the understanding how to save, you would understand REST GUID operations like delete, update, load in no time. So let's start. Go to the package com.contoseries.hibernate, right click and choose new class. Give a name to the class, main. Click on finish. What we want is to store the student_info model object into the database. So let's quickly create this model object in this main class. Set name as Gone2. And set roll number as 1. Now our model object student_info is ready. Now let's write code to save it into the student_information table. Just to save some time, I've already written the rest of the code for saving the student_info object. Now let's understand what all these lines of code means. The first step is to create the session factory object. This object will contain all the data regarding the Hibernate configuration file. So we can call session factory as a heavyweight object. The second step is to create the session object. Session factory produces the session object. You can get a session or open a session by calling openSession method in session factory. And what conceptually it means is whenever session is opened, then internally a database connection will be opened. The third step is to create a logical transaction. While working with insert, update, delete operations from a Hibernate application on the database, Hibernate would need a logical transaction. If we are just selecting an object from the database, then we do not require any logical transaction. But for all other crude operations like delete, insert, update, Hibernate would need it. In order to begin a logical transaction, we need to call a method beginTransaction given by the session interface like this. This session.save is the main code which is inserting the record into the database table. You just need to pass the model object student_info to the same method in session and it will save the record into the database table student_information. Finally, we need to call commit in transaction and then just close the session object and session factory like this. If we run the program, our intention is that it will save the student_info object into the student_information table. As we have clearly mentioned in the student_info class that whenever we would perform any operation with the student_info class, consider the student_information table. If we go and check the Hibernate tutorials database schema, we won't find here any tables so far. This is the newly created schema by me for Hibernate tutorials. So where the Hibernate program would save the student_info object into the database. You remember we learned while going to the Hibernate configuration file hibernate.cfg.xml, if hpm2ddl.auto property is set to create, then Hibernate would create the new table with the table name mentioned in the model class if it doesn't find already existing table in the schema. Let's execute the program. Let's run as Java application. The program is executed. Now let's check whether it has created the new table student underscore information with the record mapped to the student underscore info object. If we check the logs on the console, Hibernate is very well saying that it has created the student underscore information table in the database, and it has inserted a record into this table. So let's check in the database whether it has done so. Yes, it has created the student underscore information in the Hibernate tutorial schema. Let's check whether it has inserted the record or not. Yes, it has created a record gone to as name and roll number as 1, which was the values given to the student underscore info model object. We are done with creating the basic Hibernate Java application. One very important thing to note over here is what value this hpm2ddl.auto property should have. It can hold 4 values: create, update, create drop, and validate. So we have used here create, but it can hold one of any of these 4 values. So what value it should have in production environment or in development environment? I would dedicate a separate tutorial on this property and will explain all these values fully in the upcoming tutorials. You can download the complete Hibernate demo from my website using this link. With this, you can easily go through or understand other database operations like delete, reading, or updating the record apart from save, which I just demonstrated.